Okay, I think this is an interesting little problem. Colin paid $12 for 4 buns and 4 cakes. 3 buns cost as much as 2 cakes. And we're asked what was the total cost of 6 buns and 9 cakes. Okay, now there's a couple of ways that you might have gone about this. And it would be, when you've got a problem like this, you're just going to do what comes into your head. Your problem or your solution might look different to somebody else's solution. Your model might look different. As long as they are accurate and they get you to the right answer, they show you what calculations you need to do, that's okay. But let's see how I might go about this. So Colin paid $12 for 4 buns and 4 cakes. Okay, so far so good. That's nice and easy. This is the interesting bit. 3 buns cost as much as 2 cakes. Okay, so we're going to draw a bar. So we're going to draw 2 bars, sorry. So we've got buns and we've got cakes. And I'm going to start by drawing. So this represents 1 cake. Sorry, this represents 1 bun. Okay, so if that's 1 bun, here we've got 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so this is the 4 buns. Okay. And I also want to draw 4 cakes, but I know that I have to meet this requirement here. And it says 3 buns, 1, 2, 3, cost as much as 2 cakes. So if I draw, and I'm going to follow this down here. Now this represents 2 cakes. Okay. Now, how shall I divide this up? Shall I divide this into 2 cakes? Or I could just follow the parts that I have up here and just do that. All right. This is 2 cakes, but I've divided it into 3 parts. Okay. It might help. There we go. So, and I'm going to maybe do an extra little border around there to show that that's those are my 2 cakes. Right. Is 2 cakes enough? No. Colin bought 4 cakes. So I'm going to draw another one of these 2 cake bars, as it were. So that's 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's another 2 cakes. I hope you're following me here. Right. Okay. Right. I think I've captured all of the information, except for it says that Colin paid $12 for all of this. So all of this cost $12. And hopefully you can see then I can now just do a simple division. I've got all of these equal size parts. How many are there? Well, it's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I've got 10 parts. And if I divide $12 by 10, I get $1.20. Okay, so each of these parts has a value of $1.20. And in fact, this is 1 bun. So I now know the cost of 1 bun, okay, is, I don't know why I did 2 of those. There we go. 1 bun is 1.20. Excellent. So let's see if we can figure out what 1 cake is. Well, we've got here, because of the way we've divided it up, so these are also obviously 1.20, 1.20. All of the parts in this model have a value of 1.20. Now, we know that 2 cakes, so we know that 2 cakes has a value of 120 times 3, which is 360. And if we divide 360 by 2. So 360, sorry, 360. If we divide that by 2, which is 180, we get the cost of one cake. So one bun is 120, one cake is 180. All right, notice when I'm talking about money, how I don't say 1.20, I say 120. This is 180. Okay. And this is really important information, isn't it? Because the question I'm asked is, what was the total cost of 6 buns and 9 cakes? So we're going to have the cost of one bun, which is 120. We need to multiply that by 6. Okay. And that is 720. Okay. And then the cake cost, $1.80 as it is here. We're buying 9 cakes. Okay. And that works out at 16.20. And then we need to add those two together to get our final amount. Okay, so if we add 720, in fact, I'm just going to erase my big fat 7 there. Okay, so 720 plus 1620, that is going to give us a total cost of 23.40. Okay, so that's one way of doing it, probably the easiest, but you also could have drawn it like this. I don't want you to think that there's just one way of drawing these things. So let's have a look. How else could I have divided this up? So we had the bun and we had cakes and we drew 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that represented our buns. And then we knew that 2 cakes was the same value as 3 buns. So we drew this bit here. Okay. All right. So here is the 2 cakes. All right. And you might have decided, well, this is 2 cakes. I'm going to divide it into 2 cakes. Okay. And that's okay. But remember, we do want to have equal size parts. So these parts are different to these. Now, what you'd notice is that this dividing line for the 2 cakes obviously comes in the middle of this part here, if you match it up. So you would see that if you started to split all of the parts into 2, and then you could do, now remember, you'd get 1, 2, 3 here. Yeah, there we go. You do end up with equal size parts. Okay. What they are is half the size of these ones. Okay. So instead of having 4 parts here, you've got 8 parts here. And then you could, so this is, you know that that's 2 cakes, but you also know that this is 1, this bit here is 1 cake. Yeah. And you know you want to extend it by another 2 cakes. Okay, so you're going to go, so that's 3 parts, 3 of these new parts out for 1 cake, and then another 3 parts out for the 4th cake, because we ended up with 4 cakes at the beginning. Okay, so let me just show you. So we've now got, this is 1 cake, this is 2 cakes, 3 cakes, and 4 cakes. It doesn't matter that my drawing is not perfect and it's not perfectly in scale, because I know that all of these parts have equal value. So how would that have worked out? Well, I still would have had the same, that this is all worth 12. Okay, but here I divided 12 by 10. Okay, here, what am I getting? I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, as you might expect, because I cut everything in half. So I would have 12 divided by 20. Okay, and that is going to give me, instead of, I got $1.20 for each of the parts here, I'm going to get half of that, aren't I? So that's going to give me a value of zero point 0.6, or 60 cents if it were, or if we were doing pounds and pence, this would be the equivalent of 60p. Okay, so, and I could then fill that in. That's 0.60. Each of these parts has a value of zero point 0.6, and then just do the calculations like that. So if I wanted to find out the cost of one bun, it would be 0.60 times 2. If I wanted to find out the cost of one cake, it would be 0.6 times 3. And then I could carry on and do the calculations. And if you do it that way, you also get this answer. So that's two ways of drawing it. But what I was doing was making sure that I just kept the parts the same so that I could find out the value, having been given this total amount.